your, shall we say, on-the-ground reporter here. I have been up to the observation deck. For those of you that have been to the Bear Center, you know where that is. And I now have a reporter up there. Little help here. That reporter is going to kind of report to me if she sees any human or bear movement from any of the Heidi, Sharon, Dr. Rogers, or Sue Mansfield. So I have a little help now from a better vantage point than what I have. Again, just going to recap for those of you that maybe tuned in a little late and heard from your friends that something's going on at the North American Bear Center. Well, there is a lot going on. North American Bear Center got a yearling called Holly, called Holly Bear. We got her December 27th of 2013. Out of hibernation on the 7th of April. And we've been working since then to earn her trust. We had ear tag removal about the 10th of April. And since then we have been working at trying to get her comfortable here in enclosure. Today is a big day for her because she has not since she came to the Bear Center. I'm going to try to talk quiet again. I will continue to talk quiet, trying to listen to Heidi's voice. And she's encouraging Holly, but I can't see people. By the location of voices. Those of you that have been here, I would say she is probably 60, 70 feet away from her pen in a thick area. But as you would be on the deck, she would be on the still definitely on the right. And for those that have followed the North American Bear Center, we have a mound that both Ted and Lucky like to eat grass on. That's where I thought she was headed, but I see no human. Now I hear no voices. I'm going to go off mic again, and again look for a better vantage point. I hear voices, but still can't see the bear. I see Dr. Rogers, Sharon, and Heidi all in the sun on the mound behind Ted's pen. I now see Ms. Mansfield as well. All four of the humans are grouped very close together. And for anybody driving the PTZ, so anybody driving the PTZ, another 20 or 30 feet, maybe 40 feet, they could be right behind Ted's pen. And it looks like now the humans are all moving into a thicker area away from Ted's pen and are now off the mound. There seems to be a lot of human talking quietly, but I can't make out what they're saying. I again am going to move locations, go off mic, move locations for a better vantage point. Move towards Ted's pen location, and had the humans moved another 20 or 30 feet, you probably could have seen him in the back end of Ted's chalet. Reporter on the deck has asked me to come to the deck. Apparently there may have been a spotting of Holly from the deck. I'll return when I'm on the deck. I'm going to speak very quietly. Ted is in the pond. To the PTZ driver. Attention, PTZ driver. Take the PTZ to beyond the high falls. Find Dr. Rogers. Move the PTZ cam up. Holly is in a tree. If the PTZ driver is able to locate Dr. Rogers, you just have to go up about 20, 30 feet, and Holly is in a tree. I want to recap a little bit about what's happened today for our newcomers, and I want to thank all the people out there in the world, because everything I'm saying is broadcast worldwide, about the exploration day of Holly Bear, born in January 2013, came to the North American Bear Center from Arkansas on December 27th, hibernated till April 7th, and we've been working to gain her trust ever since. Today is the first day she has been out of her pen to explore her future home. I want to thank you all the volunteers that have made this happen, for people worldwide to dial in via www.bear.org on our homepage, view cameras, and right now you would want to click on PTZ, pan, tilt, and zoom. That camera is located on the deck of the North American Bear Center. The mission of the North American Bear Center is to dispel myths and misperceptions about black bears. We have the honor today of having Dr. Lynn Rogers and his associate Sue Mansfield, who have been working with black bears in the Ely Tower area for many years. We had asked Sue to come with her video equipment. I just want to interrupt that statement. The bear appears to be, if not on, the bear is now down from the tree and on the ground. She probably, Holly Bear, is probably, I'm going to estimate, 40 to 50 feet behind the high falls. And I would suspect, if you're watching the PTZ camera, you may be able to see her by now. Ted Bear has not approached the other side, but I think Ted is aware there are humans in the enclosure. Here she comes. She's going to make it to the pond. For those of you at the North American Bear Center, please, please be very quiet, not to scare the first encounter Holly Bear may have with Ted. Ted is approaching. Ted knows something's going on. Ted is very, very gentle. He's 545 pounds, but he will not hurt Holly. Again, to the PTZ driver, Holly Bear is within 5 feet of Dr. Rogers, standing up. I think she's looking for Ted. She ran in, she went back up to that favorite tree that she was in a few minutes ago as Ted approaches. Ted is approaching. Ted wants to get in the action. Ted is our 17-year-old male. Ted is a very gentle soul, and he knows something is happening, something very special today. Ted says hello to Doc, their usual greeting, while Holly just heads up the tree. Not surprising that Holly would be concerned. Ted is marching toward, well, I'm not sure. Ted is in the area. Ted is again greeting Dr. Rogers. And I think Ted is now greeting Sharon and Sue Mansfield. And Holly Bear is hovering by the tree. Heidi is not far from Holly Bear. But Holly is doing something that is not unexpected. She has only seen Ted through a fence. There is no fence now. It's not unlike what a yearling would do in the wild. Climb a tree and ask questions later. And that is what Holly Bear is doing. Hanging on to that tree, and Ted is thinking of approaching. For you visitors here at the North American Bear Center, and I know we have some children here today, and I can't thank the children enough for being quiet while we watch the introduction of our little tiny yearling Holly Bear meeting Big Ted. Big Ted took on a big brother role, and actually quite a motherly role, when our 7-year-old Lucky Bear came to the Bear Center. There is a video of Ted and Lucky making friends in the viewing area at the Bear Center. It took Lucky approximately 2 months before he felt comfortable to interact with Lucky. At that time, Lucky came here in July of '07, so he was a little bit younger than our Holly Bear today. Holly Bear has moved to the PTZ driver. She is directly straight out from falls number 2, or the Center Falls. Heidi is in the woods with her, and Sue Mansfield and Sharon have also gone in. Ted Bear seems to be interested in smelling the locations of where the humans were, and there might have been food dropped along the way. I don't know, I can't tell. But for the PTZ driver again, straight out, slight left into the woods. Sharon, Heidi, Sue, and Holly Bear. Ted is trying to check out Dr. Rogers' camera. You never know, he might have left the lens cap on, and Ted could help him out a little bit. It's kind of a warm day here right now. Little to no breeze. I'm going to go off mic right now because I can't see Holly Bear. Check the weather. It's almost all sun, very light breeze, 78 degrees. Seems a little warmer than that to me, but that's what it says, 78 degrees. And we have Ted Bear following right behind Dr. Rogers, who is right by Pat's tree. Ted knows there's food in Pat's tree. We've named that tree as Pat's tree. Has a few holes in it, and there's some peanuts in and peanuts out of the shell. Going back to Holly Bear, I'm going to go off mic just for a moment and move to the other end of the deck and see if I can find any of the 3 people with Holly or Holly herself. Okay, I'm back on mic. I do see, I think it's Sharon straight out from the Middle Falls in the woods. Here comes Holly Bear. Well, I take that back. She was running our way and decided no. I do see Heidi. for the PTZ driver, you might go over the middle poles or slightly to the right of the swing and zoom out. I see Sharon, she's got a light colored shirt on, and Dr. Rogers is going in for reinforcements here with that camera. I'm going to go off mic until I have something additional to report, because I lost the people as well as little Holly Bear. Worldwide visitors, England, Ireland, Spain, Canada, many states in the United States. We're hanging in there to see if Holly will ever make it to the pond on her first try out of the pen. But truly, there's no expectation here that she does or doesn't make it. What's really important is that whatever ground she covers, she feels comfortable and she feels safe. If she does and she has a good experience, she will remember. It's one thing about black bears, they have exceptional long-term memories. Getting back to Holly Bear, I see Holly Bear in the swing area. Well, let's see, I see Sharon to the left of the swing area for PTZ, and I'll draw your attention to the cedar pile. Let's talk a little bit about Ted. He's a happy bear today. He is a very happy bear today. We just put out a cedar pile for our bears. It's cedar mulch. And why is he doing what he's doing? Well, the mosquitoes and the bugs have come out in the last few days. And the mosquitoes and the bugs like to get the bear's ears and face and areas where they have thin fur. Cedar mulch has an oil that acts as a repellent. So Ted is happy as he can be, and look what he's rubbing. He's rubbing his face area and the parts of his body where he doesn't have a lot of hair and where the bugs can bite him. We did notice some bites on Ted the other day, and he knows this is a natural deterrent for bugs getting him. I'm going to go off mic again and let you enjoy Ted as he's now resting. But he got his bug spray on. That's really what a cedar pile is to the bear. Natural bug spray. And you don't have to tell them what to do. They see it, they smell it, and they know. What would be interesting is, if Holly came down, what would she do if she saw that cedar chip pile? We don't know. We can only maybe guess, but it's more important just to wait and watch. Holly Bear was a wild orphan cub. Holly Bear, we do know, was born in January of 13 and was separated from her mother by a wildfire, was raised by a human who didn't have a permit for bears, was taken away from that human, sent to a rehab facility, and determined non-releasable in the wild. The North American Bear Center became aware of Holly's situation and thought the North American Bear Center could be a great place for her, and she could become a great ambassador bear for American black bears. And that is our goal, to integrate Holly with Ted, Lucky, and Honey. Dr. Rogers is at the center of the middle pond, waterfall, and Holly Bear is directly behind him. Holly Bear is directly behind Dr. Rogers in the woods. So for PTZ driver, you might want to focus PTZ on Dr. Rogers and focus back behind the tree line. I don't see Holly Bear at the moment. I'm going to go off mic until I can maybe have a sighting. At the North American Bear Center, my location is the deck. We have a spotting of Holly. She is behind the swing, straight out. She is probably 20 to 30 feet beyond the swing, the furthest tree beyond the swing. Dr. Rogers basically is looking right at her. Hopefully the PTZ driver can focus in on that area. The area she is in is a low area in the 2.5 acres. There, a couple days ago, she has moved center. She is climbing. If you look, you can see Dr. Rogers looking straight at Heidi and the bear. It's all shaded in that area. I do not have a good vantage point, but the bear is directly out in front of Dr. Rogers, probably 30 to 40 feet at my last sighting. I'll go offline again until I can get another sighting. And I just want to recap a little bit about what's happened. Well, let me stop a minute. PTZ driver, if you look at the swing, you will see Sharon. Holly Bear is 15 feet behind Sharon. This is the closest Holly Bear has been. Holly Bear is behind the swing. Now I will attempt to recap. We started this new chapter of Holly Bear around 10 o'clock today, where we let her out of her pen for the very first time. She has never, ever explored this area. She came here on December 27th of 2013. When she came, it was about 15 below, lots of snow. PTZ driver, focus on the swing. PTZ driver, focus on the swing. For those of you not familiar with the PTZ, we have worldwide volunteers that manage our pond chat page. Oh, she's just running. That manage our pond chat page, Facebook page, and are there to educate you about black bears. The mission of the North American Bear Center is to dispel myths and misperceptions about black bears and how they integrate into the ecosystem and how can they coexist with humans, and they can. We've already learned that people if people fear a bear, they will not coexist. But many of the things that we have learned about black bears are just not true, nor supported by scientific fact. Holly Bear is trying to climb. She is climbing the tree on one end of the swing. And now she's down. I'm going to go off mic for a minute because my voice she can clearly hear, and I don't want to be a deterrent for her coming to the viewing area. I've moved to the end of the deck that is nearest the clover patch for those of you that have been to the Bear Center. So I'm at the extreme end of the deck by the clover patch. I want to talk a little bit more about Holly. As I said, she was born in January of 13. North American Bear Center got her from the state of Arkansas. People say, gee, she's a southern bear. I wonder how she'll acclimate. When we transported her on December 27th to the North American Bear Center. It was pretty nice in Arkansas in late December. It wasn't so nice here in Ely in late December. We had 2.5 feet of snow on the ground. And the day she arrived, wasn't all that nice. It was definitely below zero. And she made the trip from Arkansas in 2 days. She was transported very safely in a trailer by 2 North American Bear supporters and volunteers that were willing to donate their time and money to transport a new little ambassador bear to the North American Bear Center. People were very concerned about the climate change, about Holly Bear, and maybe she'd freeze while she hibernated. Because remember, she was an Arkansas bear. And I too worried about that. As the director of operations here, it concerns me too. So I asked Dr. Rogers, I said, well, what about this? It's concerning that, you know, it was maybe 40 degrees, 50 degrees in Arkansas, whatever, and here it is below zero and a place she'd never been, and snow and ice, and not very nice. He said, she's a Minnesota bear. She's got Minnesota genes in her. I said, how can that be? She's in Arkansas. She's not Minnesota. Well, then he told me a story that only a bear man could tell me, who's been researching bears for 47 years. And that is in the late 60s, early 70s, Arkansas's bear population had dropped significantly to the point where the Arkansas Fish and Game were concerned that they may lose all their black bears in the state of Arkansas. They knew the value of black bears to the ecosystem and to the wilderness areas that the state of Arkansas has. So they talked to the state of Minnesota and said, you know, going toward Ted's pen. I'll go back to my story that Arkansas came to the state of Minnesota and said, you know, we're concerned about our black bear population, and Minnesota, could you help us out because you've got a lot of black bears in the state of Minnesota? Minnesota said, yep, we can help you out with some black bears. And Arkansas said, well, how about if we give you some turkeys in exchange? So the deal was struck. Black bears here in northeastern Minnesota were transported to Arkansas, and in return, the state of Minnesota got turkeys, wild turkeys. The Arkansas bear population was under 100 at the time these transports were made in the late 60s, early 70s, and a couple hundred bears were transported down to the state of Arkansas to repopulate that state's black bear population. So, back many years, we have every reason to believe that Holly is a Minnesota bear with Minnesota genes. When she came here in December, she did have a winter coat. She had an undercoat. And she survived one of the coldest winters in the last 30 years here in the Ely area just fine. And that's the bear we're working with today to try to bring her to the viewing area. So that's the Holly story. And there's other information on Holly bear at a kiosk in the right next to the viewing area, where you can read about updates and what's happened to her since she's come to the North American Bear Center, and more specifically since she's come out of hibernation in early April. I'll go off mic a little bit because I've seen Holly back and forth in the woods, but I've not seen her in the last couple minutes. Little break here while we're waiting to see where our little Holly bear is. She seems to be liking the woods. But while we're just kind of waiting for her to get acclimated, I want to remind you that for those of you that aren't familiar with bear.org, that's www.bear.org. There's a lot of information there for young and old alike who want to learn the truth about black bears. Focus just beyond Dr. Rogers in the woods. Again, PTZ driver, focus on Dr. Rogers, and beyond him in the woods, there is Heidi, and I believe Holly bear is near Heidi. At least that's the report I've received, but I can't verify it. It's amazing that she's been able to move this far. In actually not that long of a time, since we started about 10. When you think about the fact that she has never, ever been in this enclosure, and when she came it had 2-3 feet of snow, and how far she's come from her pen in about an hour and a half. Actually, an hour and 20 minutes. I do see I do see her, Holly Bear. She is probably 20 feet further in the woods than where Heidi is. Heidi has taken to sitting down. Hopefully the PTZ driver can locate Heidi sitting, I think, maybe on a log. If you notice, all the humans are trying to be still and quiet. I'm going to go off mic again so we can create a quieter environment for Holly. Holly is with Heidi. PTZ driver, focus, directly behind Dr. Rogers. For those of you wondering why I'm giving instruction to the PTZ driver, that's the person that's helping you see day one of Holly Bear's excursion into 2.5 acres. Holly Bear is now out in the open. Holly Bear wanted to help Dr. Rogers take a picture and maybe help him focus his camera lens a little better. Mom number 1 and Mom number 2 are leading Holly Bear out in the open. Followed December 27th, the day we opened Holly's travel box. She was afraid to come out. Looks like she wanted to help Sue take another video of herself, maybe a selfie. That would be a Holly selfie. I'm going to go offline and let you enjoy Holly. She's now in the open. Holly wants to play with her mom. And she was told no. Then she wanted to play with the videoer, and she got told no. PZ driver, she was just on the swing. And now she's playing with the, well, she might be trying to play with the fire hose. Questions been asked about the falls, the 3 waterfalls. They do make noise. And if that's a concern of Holly's, and we really don't know. But they do have excellent hearing. Far, far better than ours. Holly's extremely interested in that camera. She's wondering, who do I play with? She has yet to approach Ted. Well, we did have Holly cross the creek bridge momentarily. She was down here in the viewing area. And now she's basically behind the large falls, or the tall falls. I kind of thought she'd follow the whole gang right to the viewing area, but not quite.